Welcome to the online public information meeting presentation for the Iowa Highway 141 Corridor Study. The City of Johnston, in partnership with the City of Grimes, Polk County, and Iowa DOT, has hired Snyder & Associates to provide planning level recommendations for the short-term and long-term traffic safety and operation needs in the corridor. This plan examines the short and long-term safety, efficiency, and access along the corridor between Iowa Highway 44 and Iowa Highway 415 interchanges. This study also examines potential long-term land use changes adjacent to the corridor that could significantly impact traffic flow and conflict within the corridor. To review background information on the conditions within the study corridor, previous planning studies, and local transportation planning that will support the long-term land use along the Iowa 141 corridor, please visit the City of Johnston project page located on the city website. You can also view the video recording of the first public information meeting on May 13, 2021, where the project team presented a summary of the background conditions and potential improvement options to corridor access that were considered while developing draft recommendations for the corridor. The draft corridor plan includes short-term and long-term recommendations related to the roadway corridor, adjacent and future intersecting roadways, and various access points. These draft recommendations are based on safety performance, future land use changes, increases in traffic demand due to adjacent corridor land use traffic flow, overall mobility goals for the highway corridor, and regional needs. The numbered callouts on the map refer to the more detailed exhibits on the following slides for a specific intersection or corridor location. We will now present short and long-term draft recommendations for access and intersection locations along the study corridor beginning at the south end. Northeast 10th Street. In the short term, there are no immediate needs. In the long term, as continued development occurs to the west, this right-in, right-out intersection should be monitored for changes in conflict or safety performance. If crash patterns develop between slow-moving, entering, or exiting traffic, evaluate modification options for the movements. Access to the east. In the long term, this access should be closed after the extension of Destination Drive north to northeast Beaverbrooke Blvd traffic signal, at which time access modification should be made to connect the existing land use to Destination Drive. Northeast Beaverbrooke Blvd. In the short term, this intersection is not identified for modification. Pending additional severe crashes at Northwest 78th Avenue, Northeast 18th Street, or new development, the east approach of the intersection should be constructed with the parallel street extensions of Destination Drive and Northeast Point Drive. In the long term, full signalized control access continues with development east of Iowa 141 and connections to Destination Drive and Northeast Point Drive. The east approach to this intersection should be built in conjunction with the extension of Destination Drive North, Northeast Point Drive South connection with Northeast Beaverbrooke Blvd. Development pressure north of Northwest 78th, Northeast 18th could accelerate need for improvements. Northwest 78th Avenue, Northeast 18th Street. In the short term, partial closure may be required if intersection safety continues to decline. If additional crashes or severity occur in this intersection, modifications to access should be made to limit crossing movements, in particular westbound left from Northwest 78th Avenue or southbound left from Iowa 141 to Northwest 78th Avenue. Additional improvements to increase driver visibility may be necessary, including a positive offset right turn lane for northbound Iowa 141. In the long term, the east approach should be closed long term after the extension of Destination Drive and Northeast Point Drive north to Northwest 78th Avenue. The west approach can be maintained as a right-in, right-out, or access with northbound left only if complete closure of Northwest 78th Avenue to the east. Further street connectivity to the west should be pursued for properties west of Iowa 141. Private driveways south of Little Beaver Creek bridges. In the short term, improve paved shoulders at driveway access locations for deceleration area when maintenance improvements occur on Iowa 141. In the long term, if no densification of land use and increase in traffic intensity, this location is not intended for other long-term modifications. Private driveways north of Little Beaver Creek bridges. In the short term, improve shoulders at driveway access locations for deceleration area when maintenance improvements occur on Iowa 141. In the long term, if no densification of land use and increased traffic intensity, this location is not intended for other long-term modifications. Northwest Timberbrooke Lane. In the short term, construct positive offset right turn lane that will benefit improved sight distance for eastbound to southbound right turn traffic when maintenance improvements occur or safety performance decreases. In the long term, depending on the spacing for the recommended interchange within the relocation of Northwest Towner Drive, Timberbrooke Lane could either continue as a right-in, right-out based on safety performance, or the intersection may need to be closed if the access cannot be maintained. Northwest Timber Ridge Lane. In the short term, construct positive offset right turn lane that will benefit improved sight distance for eastbound to northbound left turns or eastbound to southbound right turns when maintenance improvements occur or safety performance decreases. Improve shoulder for northbound right turn traffic for east driveway on Iowa 141 if maintenance occurs or safety concerns. In the long term, depending on the spacing for the recommended intersection with the relocation of Northwest Towner Drive, Timber Ridge Lane could either continue as a right-in, right-out if the access can be maintained, or the intersection may need to be closed if the access conflicts with future ramps. Northwest Towner Drive. This intersection has two options for short-term improvement. The first option, west approach of the intersection should be closed per a prior Iowa 141, Iowa 415 study recommendation, and due to continued erosion issues with Beaver Creek and the soil embankment beneath Northwest Towner Drive. Develop positive offset right turn lane northbound and median improvements to improve westbound Towner Drive to southbound Iowa 141 sight distance. If additional severe crashes occur at this intersection, modifications to access should be made to limit crossing movements. Northwest Towner Drive, short term, option 2. The west approach of the intersection should be closed per a prior Iowa 141, Iowa 415 study recommendation, and Beaver Creek soil embankment erosion issue. The east approach is realigned approximately 200 to 250 feet south, and the median is modified to improve spacing from Beaver Creek bridges and improve sight distance and turn lane modifications for all movements. If additional severe crashes occur at this intersection, modifications to access should be made to limit crossing movements, potential for right-in, right-out, and southbound left-in only. Northwest Towner Drive and Northwest 100th Street, 110th Court. In the long term, if redevelopment east of Iowa 141 occurs consistent with comprehensive land use plans, Northwest 100th Street and Northwest 110th Court should be extended to Northwest Towner Drive. Northwest Towner Drive would be closed at its current location and realigned further south, and Northwest Timberbrooke Lane to the east would connect to Northwest 100th Street and Iowa 141. If level of development and new traffic justifies grade-separated facility at realigned Northwest Towner Drive, consider interchange alternatives and impacts to accesses on Iowa 141. Interchange ramps may necessitate the closure of Northwest Timber Ridge Lane. Based on long-term land development potential, a relocated Northwest Towner Drive will be needed to facilitate access to the overall areas east and west of Iowa 141 through a grade-separated intersection point. Relocated Towner Drive interchange. Three interchange concepts were developed to demonstrate spacing requirements for a new roadway intersecting Iowa 141 east and west. This concept is a tight diamond interchange. This design can be seen at a number of locations around the metro. In all three interchange concepts, interchange ramps extend beyond Northwest Timberbrooke Ln to the south and existing Northwest Towner Drive to the north. Those intersections would need to be closed and rerouted through the interchange. The second interchange concept that was developed to demonstrate spacing requirements for a new roadway intersecting Iowa 141 is a roundabout ramp intersection style or dogbone interchange. The final interchange concept that was developed to demonstrate spacing requirements for a new roadway intersecting Iowa 141 is a single point interchange. This concept is similar to Mills Civic Parkway in West Des Moines at I-35. Access north of Beaver Creek. In the long term, per a prior Iowa 141-415 study, the median opening and field access north of Beaver Creek should be changed to a right in, right out on the west side, with the change in land use causing increased traffic demand. Other long-term recommendations for the entire corridor length from Highway 44 interchange to Highway 415 interchange include the following. Addition of one travel lane in each direction for 6 total lanes on Iowa 141 as traffic increases. Monitoring of speed limits to consider a potential 55 mile per hour speed limit throughout to transition from the current 65 mile per hour speed limit from Little Beaver Creek North through Highway 415. This will maintain mobility, yet balance safety needs and crash severity. And finally, monitoring the safety performance at any intersection or conflict point for potential corrective measures. The draft corridor plan recommendations are complete, and further details can be found in the draft corridor study. An open house style public meeting with agency and consultant staff will be held at Johnston City Hall Wednesday, August 18th from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Following this public meeting, comments and feedback from the public will be gathered and incorporated into a final corridor study for the cities, county, and Iowa DOT to use in the continued planning and management for improvements and land use development in the corridor. To view additional information regarding the study or for an email link to submit questions or comments to project staff, please refer to the City of Johnston's website and the specific Highway 141 Corridor Study Project page. On behalf of all 4 agencies, thank you for participating in this important study.